This next clue is brought to you by the letter P.
It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.
Good morning, slaves, and welcome to another edition of It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine, your least trusted source for news. I am your host, the Stimulator, and today this show is brought to you by the letter P.
The letter P, my favorite letter. Oh, yeah?
In the news this week, the keepers of the doomsday clock have been sleeping on the job again. The time for the motherfucking end should have moved one more minute closer to midnight this week when Vladimir Putin, Dr. Polonium himself, threatened to point his plutonium-laden missiles towards Western Europe if the US installed its barely working missile defense shield. The ex-KGB agent and hater of the free press decided to start this pissing contest right before the G8 summit in Rostock, Germany. The G8, or better named P8, is the player's paradise for the top pimps and pushers of the world to split up the global pie. These include that punk-ass Bush, the aforementioned Putin, the outgoing British pansy Tony B, and some other pimps from France and shit. These motherfuckers represent some of the world's biggest polluters and are due to hammer out some sort of deal to reduce carbon emissions. But don't hold your breath. Or do.
That the G8, as the group of the 8 biggest economies, has failed to live up to its responsibilities when it comes to climate change. There is no consensus on a reduction of 50% CO2 emissions by 2050, since the US is not willing to accept this.
En zeg eens, welke letter is dit?
Dit is de letter P.
According to global warming watchdog organizations, it will take nearly 4,000 tons of carbon emissions to get these motherfuckers to the conference, roughly the same amount as 200 ordinary polluters produce in a year. One of the worst offenders is, you guessed it, US resident George W. Bush. To welcome the number one polluter to the summit, protesters threw a street party in his honor, and were soon joined by the police. In the spirit of goodwill, the protesters decided to pimp this police ride.
Vi angriper planene om å angripe andre land. Så det hender at vi brenner det amerikanske flagg. Det er fengende og spennende, du betaler deg ganske mange. Og henger med gjengene, de har kameraer overalt. Uten vi denger på gjengen din. Ta om mandag opp, vi er mange nok til å få brent det opp. Og lage bråk for landet vårt, det ender nok. Bestandig opp og stadig hoppe når amerikanerne lader opp. Til Ragnarok, du sender nok menn til gokk. Men dagen er nå, det faen meg går ikke lenger nå. Planen er å rane dem for penger og sånt. Lander i der ranere, du bør blande deg og ta med det flagget deres. Vi trenger å få brent det opp.
As promised, we bring you a critical mass report from New York fucking city. But first, here's a clip from the film Still We Ride, a documentary about the critical mass ride that happened in the midst of the Republican Convention in 2004.
It was the week of my birthday, and the plan was to treat myself to a new bike and go on my first critical mass ride.
It's a completely unmitigated and authentic experience. You are with this community of people who are riding with you, and it moves.
If you have a right to do something, you should not have to ask the government for permission to do that.
It's amazing. Like, as far as I can see in either direction is bicycles.
The ride was glorious, and everything was going well. The police seemed to be friendly. When suddenly the call came out, "You're under arrest," and they, mass arrest ensued.
Step back on the sidewalk.
In South America, you don't get arrested for cycling. In Europe, you don't get arrested for cycling. They've arrested 400 cyclists in the last half a year in New York City.
There was one police officer grabbing my arm and telling me, drop the bike, drop the bike.
Have you ever been in a criminal court case before?
No, I haven't even been a juror on a criminal court case.
Do you know why you're being arrested?
I don't know.
Why are people getting arrested?
For breaking the law. It's like all of a sudden a bicycle is a weapon.
It is dangerous and illegal to ride a bicycle in a procession.
I saw my experience not so much as something that happened to me, but as a window of opportunity for greater suppression of rights in this country.
To tell why critical mass is so fucked in the NYC, here are Andrew Lin and Elizabeth Press, filmmakers of Still We Ride. Hey y'all, how the fuck are ya?
I'm doing alright. It's a gorgeous day here in New York.
I'm doing okay.
So, why did the cops crack down on critical mass?
Well, I think the police originally started cracking down on critical mass because it was, the weekend before the Republican National Convention, and I think it was a test case for what they were going to do with all these people in New York City for that huge mobilization.
The police are using critical mass as a testing ground to figure out how to police decentralized action.
And what kinds of fucked up actions did they take against rioters?
Well, there's been a number of fucked up tactics that the police have used during critical mass bike rides over the years now, since 2004. One of the scariest moments for me was on 6th Avenue, and the police were riding up the street in both mopeds and cars, and they were doing this thing where they were riding their cars into a group of bicyclists, jumping out of their car and arresting them. I think that was one of my scariest moments on critical mass.
There's barricades set up that block off entire streets. There's large amounts of traffic displaced and roadblocks essentially set up which change the traffic patterns of the entire downtown of New York City for one night, when really the ride would not alter traffic that much if it was just to go on, as it did from 1996 through 2004.
Can you give us an update of what's happening now?
Well, there's an ongoing campaign, clearly, of harassment, which started with the arrest, but really hasn't ended, and there's no real end in sight, because every month they bring out, it's kind of like a mystery as to what's going to happen with the cops this month. And it's really put a real damper on the fun of what critical mass used to be. And now it's more of this, a struggle for civil liberties as opposed to, asserting your right to the road as a group of cyclists, which of course we have. And New York City is one of the, it's a great place to ride a bike. It's a great bikeable city, and there's too many damn cars. So we need more bikes.
The situation in New York is unbelievable. The cycle continues with the cops. Numerous cops are out. You thought once Assistant Chief Bruce Smoko retired that things would change here. But you're wrong. Just last month I got parading without a permit again, because now in New York City, 50 or more people on the streets, they say, which is up for debate in the courts, is parading without a permit. So you need a permit to be able to gather 50 or more people. People are getting tickets for riding too far to the right or too far to the left of the road. If you don't have a light on your bike, people are getting ticketed.
And that about does it for another edition of It's the End of the World As We Know It and I Feel Fine. For more information about the film Still We Ride, visit our website, submedia.tv. Join us next week when we take a close look at the World Naked Bike Ride. For comments, suggestions, or tips on cycling naked, email me, ballsout@submedia.tv. Keep it clean.
Critical mass. Critical mass.